I bow to the Almighty in my mind, speech and body. Vanakkam. A quick recap. We are learning the Tamil language. The Ezhuthukkal or letters are classified into Mudal Ezhuthukkal or the foundation Ezhuthukkal and the Sarbu Ezhuthukkal or the dependent Ezhuthukkal. The Uyir Ezhuthukkal or the life letters are 12 in number and Mei Ezhuthukkal or the body letters are 18 in number. We have seen all of the 12 Uyir Ezhuthukkal and their origin and placement in the Agaravarisai. The primordial sound A is the first Ezhuthu and it is born in the back of the throat. When we alter the sound of A using our natural instruments, we get all the other Uyir Ezhuthukkal. E is born in the middle of the mouth and U is born in the front portion of the mouth. A and E combine to give A and I. A and U combine to give O and Au. Except for I and Au, which are Nedil Ezhuthukkal by itself, all the other Kuril Ezhuthukkal have Nedil counterparts. And that brings us to the Uyir Ezhuthukkal A, I, U, E, I, O, Au. Today we will move to the next set of Mudal Ezhuthukkal, which is the Mei Ezhuthukkal. Mei has two meanings, truth and body. Here we take the meaning as body. I will explain the reason for naming these as body letters when we do the Sarbu Ezhuthukkal. For our understanding, we can say that Uyir Ezhuthukkal are the equivalent of vowels in English and the Mei Ezhuthukkal can be compared to the consonants in the English language. The Mei Ezhuthukkal are 18 in number and they all have a dot on them. While pronouncing the Uyir Ezhuthukkal, we saw that the air that comes from inside is unobstructed. But when pronouncing the Mei Ezhuthukkal, the air that comes from inside will be obstructed by any of the natural instruments and then released either through the nose or the mouth. The Mei Ezhuthukkal are classified into three types: the Vallinam, Mellinam and Idayinam. There are 6 Vallinam Ezhuthukkal, 6 Mellinam Ezhuthukkal and 6 Idayinam Ezhuthukkal, and that's how we get a total of 18 Mei Ezhuthukkal. Vallinam Ezhuthukkal can be referred to as the hard consonants because they have a hard or a harsh sound. The Mellinam Ezhuthukkal can be referred to as the soft consonants because they sound soft. And the Idayina Ezhuthukkal can be referred to as the medial consonants because they are neither soft nor too hard. They are somewhere in the middle. Now, what do I mean by hard and soft sounds? Let me give you a few examples. I will read out some lines from Tamil literary works where the authors have used Vallinam and Mellinam to convey a certain emotion or a feeling, and see if you can get the feel. First, I will read out a few lines from the Tamil epic Kambaramayanam. It is a literature by Kambar based on Valmiki's Ramayanam, which narrates the story of the life of King Rama of Ayodhya. The internet has plenty of information on this epic, but here we are going to focus only on one particular scene. In this story, King Rama is sent on an exile to the forest, and there he makes friends with the chieftain of the forest tribe called Guhan, and Guhan becomes a very dear friend of Rama, and Guhan helps Rama and his people to cross the river Ganga. Now, after sending Rama off, Guhan spots a big army of elephants in a distance. It actually belongs to Bharata, who is the brother of Rama, who are coming in peace. But Guhan mistakes them as enemies and he instructs his army men to get ready to fight. So he is all angry and charged up. And the author conveys the anger of Guhan and how he inspires his army in the following few lines. I will read them out now, and obviously the words will not make any sense, but see if you can get the feel of the song. ஆழ நெடுந்திரை ஆறு கடந்தியவர் போவாரோ வேட நெடும்படை கண்டு விளங்கிடும் வில்லாளோ தோழமை என்று அவர் சொல்லிய சொல் ஒரு சொல்லன்றோ ஏழமை வேடன் இறந்திலன் என்று என ஏசாரோ. I hope you are able to feel the harshness of the words. This song has more of Vallinam Ezhuthukkal and that's why it has that strong sound. Aada nedinthirai aaru kadandivar. I will give you one more song which is composed of only Vallinam Ezhuthukkal. The previous one had a combination and more of Vallinam Ezhuthukkal. The one that I am about to read now is composed only of Vallinam. And this is by a poet called Kalamega Pulavar. Here he describes a rainy day in a forest. துடித்து தடித்து துடுப்பெடுத்த கோடர் தொடுத்த தொடை கடுக்கை பொறுப்போர் பொடித்து தொடி படைத்த தோடுடித்த தோகை கூத்தாட கடி படைத்து காட்டித்து காடு. I could almost feel the lightning and the rain in the words, and I hope you could sense the strength of the words, those Vallinam Ezhuthukkal in the song, tudithu thadithu, and in those words. So now in contrast, I will read a Mellinam song. Mellinam are the soft consonants. Here is also a scene from Kambaramayanam. In this scene, the poet describes the beauty of a lady called Surpanagai. And to convey the feminine beauty, he uses more of Mellinam Ezhuthukkal. I will read them out. Panji olir vinju kulir pallavam anunga senjaviya kanjam nigar சீரடியலாகி அஞ்சொழில மஞ்சையன அன்னமென மின்னும் வஞ்சியன நஞ்சமென வஞ்சமகள் வந்தாள். I hope you were able to see the contrast of this piece with the harshness of the earlier one. In the words like manyayana annamena vanjiyana nanjamena, all those are using Mellinam or the soft consonants. I will read one more which has only Mellinam Ezhuthukkal. Maname nanna manamen manamennum manaman manna naninanu meenama mana minan minni munmunne nanninu mana manimeni man. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but this is also written by Kalamega Pulavar, and it says even though a man's heart is tough and strong, it melts in front of his beloved. And I could sense the softness in the Mellinam Ezhuthukkal. Okay, next I will read one song which has only the medial consonants or the Idayana Ezhuthukkal. Viravalarai வாழ்வாரை வெல்வாய் ஒழிவாய் இரவுலவா வேலை ஒளியே வரவொழிவாய் ஆயர்வாயே அறிவை ஆருயிரை ஈராவோ ஆயர்வாய் வேயோ அழல். This was neither too harsh nor too soft. So depending on the kind of energy that these Mei Ezhuthukkal conveys, they are classified as Vallinam, Mellinam and Idayinam. So Vallinam are the hard consonants, Mellinam are the softer consonants, and Idayinam is the medial consonants. First we will learn the Vallinam, Mellinam and Idayinam Ezhuthukkal, and then we will see how all of these are placed in the Mei Ezhuthukkal Agaradi. The Mei Ezhuthukkal Agaradi is nothing but the order in which the 18 Mei Ezhuthukkal are placed. So now we will start with the Vallinam Ezhuthukkal. As I said earlier, when pronouncing the Vallinam Ezhuthukkal, the air that comes from inside is blocked completely by any of the natural instruments, and the air stays inside the mouth while we say the Ezhuthu, and the air gets released after we release the sound and after we complete the Ezhuthu. The first Vallinam Ezhuthu is ik, as the ICK in lick, ik. This is how it looks. We will learn how to write these Ezhuthukkal shortly. To pronounce this Ezhuthu, we will touch the rear end of the tongue on the far end of the palate and block the air. Ik, ik. So ik is born in the far end of the mouth near the throat. Note that as we say ik, the air is blocked in the mouth in the far end itself, and it is released after we finish pronouncing the Ezhuthu, ik, like this, ik. And this is the case with all the Vallinam Ezhuthukkal. Then let's move on to the next Vallina Ezhuthu. The next Vallina Ezhuthu is ich, as in ICH in which, ich. Here the middle portion of the tongue touches the roof of the mouth and the air gets blocked and released after we have said ich. So ich is born in the middle portion of the mouth, and I have placed this Ezhuthu in the middle after the ik in the figure. The next Ezhuthu is it, as in IT, it, and this is how it looks. Now the tip of the tongue touches the roof of the mouth, so it is born in the front portion of the mouth, and so I have placed this Ezhuthu in the front after the ich in the figure. Let's move to the next one. The next Ezhuthu is it, as in ITH in the width. It is pronounced as it. Here we allow the tip of the tongue to touch the back side of the teeth in the upper jaw. It. So to place this Ezhuthu in the order of the birth, I have placed this after it in the figure. The it was born before the tongue touched the teeth, and the it is born when the tongue touched the teeth. Now after the teeth we have our lips. So now we are going to use that to create the next Ezhuthu. So what we'll do is we will now allow the lips to touch each other and block the air, and we get ip, ip as in lip, the IP in lip, and this is how it looks. And finally we allow the edge of the tongue to touch the roof of the mouth, and we place the tip of the tongue on the tip of the palate and block the air, and we get it, it, as in the ITR of the citrus, it. And this is how it looks. In some places this Ezhuthu is also pronounced as ir, a harsh rolling sound, ir. In the English language we don't roll the R, so I could not find an equivalent word with the R or ir sound. And this Ezhuthu is special to the Tamil language, and I believe this harsh roll of the R is not there in any other language. So now we have the Vallinam Mei Ezhuthukkal as ik, ich, it, ip, it in the order of their birth. As you can see, ik, ich, it, ip, it. Now to remember the Vallinam Mei Ezhuthukkal easily, we form a mnemonic using the corresponding Uyir Mei Ezhuthukkal. What do I mean by the corresponding Uyir Mei Ezhuthukkal? You see, when there is a dot above the Ezhuthu, it is a Mei Ezhuthu. But when we remove the dot, it becomes a Uyir Mei Ezhuthu, which we will learn after the Mei Ezhuthukkal. But for now, understand that when the dot is removed, the ik becomes ka. There is an a sound attached to the end of the ik. Ka.
The ich becomes cha or sa when the dot is removed. And here we will take the sa sound. The it becomes ta or da, and here we will use the da sound, and the it becomes ta. The ip becomes pa when the dot is removed, and the it becomes ra when the dot is removed.
Why are we doing this? This is because we are now going to form a mnemonic as ka, sa, da, ta, pa, ra, and this is easier to remember than ik, ich, it, ip, it. So we are forming this mnemonic ka, sa, da, ta, pa, ra. So when we have to recollect the Vallinam Ezhuthukkal, we can think of ka, sa, da, ta, pa, ra and put a dot on each and arrive at ik, ich, it, ip, it, and so on. So just for the sake of remembering these letters, we use the mnemonic ka, sa, da, ta, pa, ra. But the actual Vallinam Mei Ezhuthu is still ik. Please note that. So now we have learned all the 6 Vallinam Mei Ezhuthukkal and also the mnemonic to remember them. And now we will see how to write these.
Let's start with the first Mei Ezhuthu, ik. So we start with a standing line, take off your hand, draw a sleeping line, take off your hand, draw another standing line and continue that to a semicircle. You extend that to a sleeping line and draw another semicircle, and you close the figure over here, take off your hand and put a dot on the top. This is the first Vallinam Mei Ezhuthu, ik. Let's try this one more time. We start with a standing line, take off your hand, sleeping line, take off your hand, another standing line, continue that to a semicircle, extend it and close the semicircle and put a dot on the top. This is the first எழுத்து ik. The second Vallinam Mei எழுத்து is ich. So just as how we did for the ik, we start with a standing line, take off your hand, sleeping line, take off your hand, standing line and a semicircle, continue that to a sleeping line and leave it as it is. Take off your hand and put a dot on the top. This is the எழுத்து ich. One more time. We start with a standing line, a sleeping line, a standing line, continue that to a semicircle, continue that to a sleeping line and take off your hand and leave it as it is. Put a dot on the top. This is the second எழுத்து ich. So the third Vallinam Mei எழுத்து is kasada it. So to write the it, it's very simple. We start with a standing line and a sleeping line and put a dot on the top. So this is the எழுத்து it. Once again, we start with a standing line, continue that to a sleeping line and put a dot on the top. And this is the Vallinam Mei எழுத்து it. Let's move to the next Vallinam Mei எழுத்து, which is kasada. So it is it. So we start with a standing line, take off your hand, draw a sleeping line, take off your hand, another standing line, continue the stroke to a semicircle and extend it to a sleeping line, and now draw a semicircle and extend this to a nice hook in the end and put a dot on the top. This is the எழுத்து it. Let's try this one more time. Standing line, sleeping line, another standing line, continue that to a semicircle, a sleeping line, another semicircle and extend it to a hook and put a dot on the top. And this is the Vallinam Mei எழுத்து it. The next எழுத்து, as per the mnemonic, kasada. It is ip. So this is a very simple எழுத்து. We start with a standing line, a sleeping line and go up in a standing line and put a dot on the top. This looks like an open box. Let's try this one more time. Standing line, a sleeping line and go up in a standing line and put a dot. And this is the எழுத்து ip. Ip. Let's move to the last Vallinam Mei எழுத்து, which is ir. Kasada ir. To do that, we go up in a standing line. Standing line, go up, semicircle and come down. Again you go up, semicircle and you come down. And now you finish off in a hook like this and put a dot on the top. And this is the Vallinam Mei எழுத்து ir or it. Let's try this one more time. We start with a standing line that goes up, semicircle and come down. Another go up and come down and finish off in a hook and put a dot on the top. This looks like the English letter M with a tail. So this finishes the Vallinam Mei Ezhuthukkal. Let's try this one more time all together. Ik, ich, it, it, ip and ir. Kasada tapara. Ik, ich, it, ip, ir. And these are the 6 Vallinam Mei Ezhuthukkal.
I encourage you to practice these at home and we'll finish off here and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you. Nandri Vanakkam.